Hello, YouTube. In my channel, I have revealed other UFO observation and encounter cases from the year 1981 in the USSR. This was an unusual year for ufology, but I doubt we know the extent of the visitations to various remote areas of the planet. Of course, I'm speaking about civilians, what the military knows in Russia, in the United States, in China, that's something else. The case at hand is from Soviet Kazakhstan. The message itself, the one that I'm going to tell you, was in the archives of the Commission on Anomalous Phenomena in the Soviet Union for a long time, and I'll explain you about them later. I added some explanatory notes about Soviet realities that the author of this message or the letter referred to, but which few people outside of the country understood, just to make it easier for you. So here it goes. Dear Anomalous Phenomena Commission, this happened on July 10, 1981. I, while on vacation, rested at my mother's, who lives at the station Cheremshanka of the Alma-Ata Railway, 40 kilometers from the city of Leninogorsk, East Kazakhstan region. The weather was dry and hot. After dinner at 10 o'clock in the evening, I went out onto the porch. The time was coming when the day was fading and the night has not yet come. From the eastern side of the sky, from the nearest mountains, from Mount Uglavucha, whose steepness hung over the railway station, the darkness of night was already creeping and still dim. Rare stars began to flash in the sky, and in the west a pale orange-pink dawn was burning down. Light streamed from the dawn, painting the distant mountains on the western side, the buildings of the poultry farm, the chimneys of the boiler room, and the distant slopes of the hills in yellow-pink tones. The sky without a single cloud, and the earth still flowed warmly, heated in the heat of the day. The dawn fading highlighted the distant bristles of the forest, the arable land adjacent to the forest with stacks of hay. And there, at the edge of the forest in the northwest, a rocket quickly soared into the sky. Having completed the trajectory as it should be, it hovered in the air. It's not a new one, probably with a parachute, I thought. But what kind of devil needed to throw rockets into such dry land? I thought with annoyance. Seconds passed and the beam of light continued to hang in the distance. It was at least 10 kilometers away, emitting unusually bright golden thin rays. This ray stream splashed and seemed to pulsate, and suddenly the rays faded, turning into a light, transparent cloud that began to move. And setting off, it rushed, playing with colors, towards the station. The cloud rolled and tumbled over the distant stacks of straw, sometimes spreading to the sides, sometimes gathering into a dense lump, changing color every second. From orange it became pink, from pink to soft green, from green to smoky. Now the cloud moving into the valley was at least 8 kilometers away. As it tumbled, the cloud turned into a thick orange-brown kalach with a hole changing its shape. Kalach, the name originates from the Old Slavonic word kolo, meaning circle or wheel. Floundering above the ground at the altitude of 50 to 70 meters against the backdrop of the evening dawn, the cloud was rapidly rushing towards the village. So it split into parts and turned into two discs placed on an edge. They either came close or diverged to the sides, rotating around their axis, playing with the colors of the rainbow. Being in constant motion, the disks, having turned around their axis, began to look like the number 8 placed on its side on an edge, and the huge figure 8 lying on its side sparkled with bright rays of light outlined by a thin, luminous line. Then the disks came closer, as if moving into each other, and a huge tangle round lump appeared, continuing to rotate around its axis. A hole appeared inside the lump again, and the hole, spreading in different directions, moved the remka, linen rags, clothes hung out to dry, approximation, either flame or silk rags, and this shapeless lump turned into a whitish ball with brightly outlined, like a drawing pen, colored edges. The ball was now 3 kilometers away, and it was noticeable that it was slowing down. Continuing to fly to the southeast, it seemed to slip to the right and was heading towards us from where we were observing. Now I saw clearly that a giant ball lightning was moving towards us, carefully avoiding objects encountered along the way. The huge ball gracefully soared above the high-voltage wire line, and having passed them, immediately descended to the ground and glided above the ground at the height of 15 to 20 meters. A kilometer away from us, inside the milky-colored ball, faint sparkles appeared on the left side along the flight path, reminiscent of the color of burning sparkles. As they approached, the intensity of the flashes intensified, and dozens of bright stars, emerging somewhere above the center, in the left half of the ball, leaving streaks of red stripes, flashed brightly and went out below, deviating to the right. As the ball approached, it seemed to grow before our eyes and was already 10 to 15 meters in diameter. From whitish, it became completely transparent. Through the globe, one could see Mount Sinuha, its slopes, the boiler room on the mountainside, the buildings of the poultry farm, and the distant horizon, painted yellow-pink by dawn. The ball was approaching, slowing down. Half a kilometer away, the ball already looked different. The outlining bright stripe around the ball from the light, white, became bright yellow with a golden tint from the side of the dawn, and from the side of the mountains, and dark blue sky, blue with the transition to ultramarine to greenish below. A light, oblong, cigar-shaped gray shadow appeared inside the see-through ball. In the center of the shadow is a pulsating blue flash. The flying ball slowed down, reminiscent of an express train arriving at the station, slowing down at the platform. It was apparently impossible for it to move further, because ahead of it, on its flight path, was the mountain called Uglovuha, literally hanging over the station. The ball hovered above us, continuing to float slowly towards the mountain. The diameter of the ball was now 15 meters, and it looked more like a soap bubble which children play with in their childhood. Shimmering with all the lights of the rainbow, it moved, almost clinging to the tops of bird cherry trees and scattered birch trees. The cigar-shaped body now looked clear. It was the size of a Laz bus, Soviet buses. Windows were visible, similar to the windows of the Hungarian Icarus bus, of the same size. Rounded, edged in black, directed slightly towards the ground, 10 degrees. During the flight, the frontal part, the windows are brightly lit. The rest at the back are darkened. In the center of the apparatus, from ceiling to floor, There was a round, shiny, black cylinder standing upright, reminiscent in its appearance of an ancient stove, bound with tin, still found at small train stations, and it's called contramarca. The cylinder is approximately 3 by 1.5 meters high. From below, from the side of the illuminated half of the cabin of the cylinder, periodically pulsating, a bright blue-violet soul-like radiant flame flashed with a flash frequency of 1 or 2. From under the silver-gray bottom in front, it poured down to the ground like coarse, red-hot sand, and not reaching 0.5 meters from the circumference of the ball, it flashed brightly as the metal magnesium burns, and immediately the sparks went out without flying beyond the limits of the sphere's circumference. For me, the UFO swaying as if on the waves from side to side allowed me to see everything inside through large windows, slightly convex outward, the walls, a row of windows on the backside, the walls, the ceiling, and the part of the floor. In front of the cabin in the bow, below the windows along the perimeter, one could see a shield-like structure with many small and large instruments sprinkled with many colored lights. The aircraft was silent, only the characteristic crackling of the red-hot grains of sand, dazzlingly burning with magnesium light, was heard under the bottom of the apparatus. In the bright blue with a violent tint, the soul-like flash, uniformly pulsating from below to the black cylinder, had some kind of synchronous connection with the movement of the windows back and forth along the circumference of the UFO body and portions of hot pea-sized particles falling down and sparkles flashing like stars. There were five brightly lit windows. The rest, above the same number, were darkened. 4 to 5 windows moving back from the bow. Without stopping, they returned forward and back again. The movement of the windows did not interfere with observing what was happening inside the apparatus. Continuing to fly at the speed of a fast-walking person, the device performed a maneuver, continuing to swing inside the ball from side to side. The salon, illuminated by even daylight, was spacious. It could easily accommodate 10 people with seats. But the salon was completely empty. There were no chairs. All that the eye could grasp was a black vertically placed cylinder resting on the ceiling, a soul-like flash in the central window below, and a semicircular shield in the front, along the direction of the flight, strewn with beaded lights and instruments. There were no lampshades, lamps, or other lighting fixtures visible. There was a feeling that the walls, ceiling, and visible part of the floor were emitting light. The blue flash, flashing brightly in the window, did not stain objects, walls, etc. with its blueness. The interior lighting remained daylight. Turning to the nose to the left, the device lifted the opposite side up, choosing the desired angles. The flash in the window increased its pulsation. The windows began to move back and forth faster. The crackling inside the ball, sparkling with all the colors of the rainbow, became more intense, turning into a smooth, barely perceptible rustle. And the huge ball began to move away, as if falling into an abyss, becoming smaller and smaller. Having started the flight path at approximately 45 degrees, it soared steeply into the sky, 70 to 80 degrees, and the eye managed to detect only the usual, the size of the moon. I saw a flat, pale yellow disk far in the sky, and in it a flattened dark gray cigar-shaped body fluttering within the disk. And the disk continued to move away and decrease in size. Its takeoff into the sky was wobbling, reminiscent of the movement of a swimming tadpole, a young frog. It turned into a reddish-yellowish speck, directed vertically into the sky in the eastern direction, and when the speck disappeared somewhere among the stars, a bright flash illuminated a section of the sky. A whitish cone-shaped glow appeared, directed with its tip towards the stars, and immediately disappeared. A second later, a new flash, distant, tiny, and also whitish, flashed in the sky. The takeoff occurred in a matter of seconds, absolutely silently, at enormous speed. There was not the slightest movement of air. Shocked by what I saw, I ran into the house, and the first thing I did was look at my watch. It was 10 minutes to 10 in the evening. 3 days later, so as not to forget the unknown aircraft I had seen, I drew 2 drawings identical. I sent one with a description to the first department of the company where I worked and kept the second to myself, for myself. Now I'm sending it to you. The first department, Первый отдел in Russian, was in charge of secrecy and political security of the workplace, of every enterprise or institution in the Soviet Union that dealt with any kind of technical or scientific information, plants, R&D institutions, etc., or had printing capabilities, meaning printing publishing houses. There was no response from the first department to the material I sent them. And I thought that was the way it should be. The other day, I read in the Truth newspaper the correspondence titled exactly at 4:10. This prompted me to contact you. The UFO observed and described by me was seen and observed by many residents of the village of Cheremshanka. They all live in this area and, if necessary, can confirm what happened on July 10, 1981. July 10, 1981. I am not sending this material for the sake of sensation. Maybe this will help you unravel this phenomenon. Signed, Netesov Ilya Georgievich, Kazakhstan, Ust-Kamenogorsk. Macabre UFO case he was referring to, described in the article titled exactly at 4:10 in a Soviet newspaper. I've described it and discussed and provided information in my books, and it's truly a macabre case, and you will see. Russian Geographical Society's Commission on Anomalous Phenomena, or Commission for the Study of Anomalous Phenomena, is one of the commissions of the Russian Geographical Society which was engaged in the study of anomalous phenomena, including UFOs, and it existed until 2013. It conducted its own expeditions, for example, in the summer of 2010. During its work, the Commission collected 6,000 reports of alleged contacts with an extraterrestrial civilization. The Commission's data archive contained both Russian and foreign cases. In the 1970s, the Commission for the Study of Anomalous Phenomena in the Environment, this is what we call paranormal, but they called it anomalous. It was established under the leadership of Vilenbachov at the Geographical Society of the USSR, now the Russian Geographical Society, in Leningrad. During this period, the commission consisted mainly of military personnel, almost all of high ranks, although there were also scientists, academicians, professors, candidates of science. The activities of the commission during this period were not brought to the attention of the general public. The meetings were closed, and the reports were often marked for official use. The expert analyzing the eyewitness story I just told you about from 1981 had an assumption that he had observed a UFO not in the form of a solid physical body, such as an airplane, but in the form of a two-dimensional or three-dimensional image that was shown to the observer. This is also evidenced by the demonstration of porthole windows through which the eyewitness observed the interior of the UFO, control panels, internal passages. In the absence of living beings inside its cabin, additional weight is given to this testimony by the fact that a copy of this message was sent by the eyewitness to the first regime, that secret department of his enterprise, which in the Soviet times controlled secret office work and ensured the secrecy and safety of secret documents. This is a powerful, vividly written observation that basically Netyosov preserved for posterity. Look, there have been more fascinating paranormal phenomena in general in the USSR and UFO sightings in Kazakhstan in particular. Please see my videos in the playlist Central Asia. And I will bring you more obscure cases from the USSR and China and post-Soviet countries, Ukraine, Belarus, countries of Central Asia, the Baltics, and so forth. Remember, it's not all about Area 51. There's a whole planet out there, incredible cases worldwide. When I had the opportunity, I tried to do field research in various locations, and I'm still fascinated every day with this phenomenon. Thank you for your attention to my work. If you can support my research, you can do so through the links you will find. You'll find in the description to this video. Please like my videos. Please tell others about my work.